The Operator, written by Crillzz. This is a story that my mom told me. She heard this from a friend who claims that it happened to her. Being a 911 operator is not exactly the easiest job out there. The hours are long, the pay is mediocre, and you get to experience a lot of grim stuff. People calling in with their relatives dying in front of them, car crashes, and domestic abuse is a regular thing. In spite of all of this, I enjoyed working as one. I got to talk to a lot of people, and we formed a tight bond at my workplace. So I stayed for almost 20 years, from my early 20s to my early 40s, before switching careers. I have received countless calls over the years, but there is one that sticks with me to this day that gives me chills just talking about. So, here is my story. I had just started my shift that would go from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. The office was pretty deserted at that point, with only a couple of other operators. I logged in and I started doing my thing. The first hour was pretty standard, nothing major happening. But then, at around 7 p.m., a call comes in. I answer the phone. Me. 911, what's your emergency? There's no answer. I wait a couple of seconds before I speak up. Hello? You've reached 911. How may I assist you? Him.
Yes, hi.
A voice appeared on the other line. It was a man, but he spoke very softly, almost whispering.
Could you send someone out here, please?
Sir, could you speak up a bit louder? I asked.
Yes, of course, I'm sorry. I need some assistance out here.
I got his address. He raised his voice, but it was still pretty quiet. He was calm, but I could tell that his breathing was uneven. I realized that he was probably whispering, as he did not want to be heard by someone or something. What do you need assistance with? I need to know so that I can send the proper help, I asked.
Well, there's a man in my living room.
A man? What is he doing?
Nothing. He's just standing there, completely still.
Has he said anything? I asked.
No, not a word. I didn't even see him through the window when I came home.
What does he look like?
He's tall, slim build, almost too slim. He has a gray suit on with black shoes, light skin.
What does his face look like? I asked.
I don't know. His back is turned against me. Could you please send some help?
Now I realized just how scared this man was. He was trying to stay calm, but I could tell that he was trembling with fear. Assistance is on the way. It'll take about 20 minutes. Stay on the phone with me and I'll help you, okay?
Okay.
When did you first notice him?
About 10 minutes ago, maybe. I came home from work, but I didn't see anything through the windows, like I said. Then when I walked into the living room, he was there. He didn't react or anything.
So, where are you now?
I'm in my hallway, in a chair. If I lean forward slightly, I can see into the living room and see him.
I could feel a chill creeping up my spine. This was very odd. If it had been a burglar, he would have done something by now. All right, I'm gonna need you to do something. Could you please walk into the living room and try to take a look at his face or see if you can get any response?
Okay. Wait a minute.
He put the phone down. This took place in the late 80s, so cell phones weren't a thing. Every house had a landline. I could hear some movement, and then I heard his voice again.
I tried, but I couldn't see his face. It's hard to explain. Please hurry up.
I heard the sound of a door opening.
Hang on. My wife just got home. I've got to explain the situation to her.
I heard hushed voices talking, and I could hear his wife start crying. Even I was scared now. This whole situation felt strange. After a while, he got back on the phone.
Okay, we're both in the hallway now. She's also seen him, and she knows the situation. Where are the police?
They are on their way, I promise. Could I please talk with your wife? I heard some rustling and then a female voice. She spoke in a quiet voice while trying to suppress her crying.
Hello?
She said. Hi, I was wondering if you could please describe the man in your living room.
Yes, he's very tall and slim. Gray suit, black shoes. He's wearing shoes and getting them on our new carpet.
Now, when people are in a state of panic or shock, they often will say stuff that appears to be very mundane and disconnected from the situation. This is a coping mechanism. She continued.
I was at the gym, so I got home later than usual. When I parked in our driveway, I noticed that the desk lamp in the living room was alight. I thought that it was weird because that's my desk where I draw, and it's only lit when I'm drawing. But I didn't see anyone in the living room.
Okay, and the man in your living room, has he not said anything? I asked her.
No, not a sound or a movement. All he has done is getting stains on my new carpet. Oh, please, send someone fast.
She started crying again. I could see on my monitor that the police were only a couple of minutes away. The husband picked up the phone again.
Yes, it's me again. Are the police close?
Yes, I said, only a couple of minutes now. I'm going to need one of you to go outside and meet the police so that they can assist you.
No, we can't. We're too afraid. I can't leave my wife alone.
He replied. As I said earlier, this call was through a landline, so they couldn't just go outside and stay on the call.
I think we'll manage for a couple of minutes before the...
Wait, what? Suddenly, he became silent. I tried to get his attention, but neither he or his wife made any noise. I heard some rustling followed by footsteps. Heavy footsteps. The kind only big boots can make when walking indoors. And then I heard the most chilling roar I have ever heard. It sounded inhuman, very deep and incredibly strong. I jolted in my chair. Every hair on my body was standing straight up. Then, complete silence. Hello, are you there? I asked. Click. The person on the other end hung up the phone. I tried calling back, but there was no answer. But then I saw something that still confuses me. My monitor made no indication that any patrols had been sent out to that address. I tried for an hour, calling both the house and the number I got to the patrol car I had dispatched, but nothing. I had to continue working and taking calls, but that incident was on my mind the entire night. When I got off, I immediately drove to a friend of mine who works at the local police station. I asked him about this, but he had no memory of any police cars being dispatched to that address that night. I was completely dumbfounded. Had I been dreaming? Was I hallucinating? I was sure that I had talked with that couple, and I also remembered that inhuman roar. I drove home and I tried to get some sleep, which I managed to do after a number of glasses of wine. A few days later, I had a day off. I decided to get to the bottom of this and soothe my mind. The address was written down in my notebook and I drove to the address. By coincidence, I arrived around the same time that the call had been made, a few minutes give or take. It was a nice area full of expensive homes with new cars in the driveways and perfectly trimmed lawns. The house on the address did not stand out. It had a light yellow color with a garden filled with different kinds of flowers. Nothing seemed to be out of the ordinary. It was quiet and the air was warm. But then I noticed something. In the window, there was a light. It was a desk light shining brightly. As I was staring at this, unsure of my next move, a car pulled into the driveway. It was a new BMW that parked. Out of the car came a woman that looked the part of an expensive car owner. I could smell the perfume from the curb that I was standing on. The weird thing was, she didn't seem to notice me at all. I was, after all, standing right in front of her house, looking straight at it. Most people would at least react to a stranger standing in front of their house. She started walking towards the house, but stopped after a few steps. I could see the confusion in her eyes, and then she spoke. "Huh, that's weird. Why is my desk light on?" She muttered to herself. I recognized the voice right away. It was the wife. I froze in place, unsure of what to do. The hairs on my arms stood straight up. The woman walked to the front door, opened it, and went inside. I stood in front of the house for maybe 10 minutes, staring intensely at the window with the desk light. Nothing. At last, I jumped in my car and drove away. I could not shake this feeling of complete fear. I never heard anything about the house or anything similar to it. I later moved away from that town and I have never returned. It just makes me feel weird being there. It's been over 30 years, but I can still remember it as clear as day. The trembling voice of the husband, the wife crying, and that inhuman roar.